Imagine being alone in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. No land in sight, no one to help, and no hope on the horizon. Just endless blue water, scorching sun by day, freezing winds by night, and you, a single human being, floating on a tiny raft. Most people would lose their minds within days, but one man, Poon Lim, survived 133 days completely alone at sea. This is not fiction. This is one of the most incredible, true survival stories in human history. The man named Poon Lim. Poon Lim was born in 1918 in Hainan, China, a small island province in the South China Sea. He came from a humble family and grew up in difficult times. China was under political turmoil, and Japanese invasion threats loomed large. His family wanted him to have a better future, so they sent him to live with his uncle in Hong Kong, a British colony at the time. Young Poon Lim was clever but poor, and soon he found work as a steward on British ships. Little did he know, this job would one day thrust him into a situation that would test the very limits of human endurance. The ship that changed his fate. It was 1942 during World War II, when global waters were filled with danger. German submarines, known as U-boats, hunted Allied ships relentlessly. Poon Lim was serving on a British merchant vessel called the SS Benlomond, sailing from Cape Town, South Africa, to Suriname in South America. The ship was unescorted, slow, and heavily loaded with war supplies, a perfect target for the German Navy. There were 53 crew members on board, including Poon Lim. The journey seemed peaceful at first, but beneath the calm ocean surface, a deadly predator was waiting. The torpedo attack. On November 23, 1942, in the middle of the Atlantic, disaster struck. Out of nowhere, a German U-boat surfaced and fired 2 torpedoes straight into the Benlomond. The explosion ripped the ship apart. Within seconds, chaos took over. Fire, smoke, screams, and cold seawater flooding in. Most of the crew died instantly. Others were dragged under by the sinking ship. But somehow, Poon Lim managed to survive. He leapt overboard just as the vessel went under, clinging to a piece of debris. He watched in horror as the ship disappeared into the depths, taking his friends with it. The lonely raft. For hours, Poon Lim floated helplessly in the cold Atlantic waters. Then, by sheer luck, he spotted a small wooden raft, about 8 feet square, stocked with minimal supplies. He climbed aboard, drenched, freezing, and in shock. The raft had a few tins of biscuits, a small water jug, a flashlight, some flares, and a few chocolate bars. That was all. No radio, no sail, no map. He was alone, hundreds of miles from land, and no one even knew he was alive. The fight for survival begins. At first, Poon Lim believed he would be rescued soon. Surely someone must be searching for survivors, he thought. But days turned into weeks, and no ship came. The supplies ran out quickly. He rationed his biscuits carefully, eating only small portions each day and sipping water sparingly. When his fresh water was gone, he began collecting rainwater using a canvas sheet. When that too became scarce, he resorted to drinking small amounts of seawater, mixed with rain, to stay hydrated. But hunger was a far greater enemy than thirst. Hunting the ocean. Poon Lim realized that if he didn't find food, he would die. Using his creativity, he started turning the few items on the raft into survival tools. He unraveled the wire from his flashlight to make a fishing hook. Then, using threads pulled from his life jacket, he created a fishing line. As bait, he used small pieces of biscuit and caught tiny fish. Over time, he learned to catch larger fish, which he ate raw or dried in the sun. He even used leftover fish as bait to catch sharks. Yes, actual sharks. When he caught one, he would kill it using his knife, drain its blood, and drink it for salt and hydration. He dried the meat in the sun to make it last longer. This was no longer a man. This was pure survival instinct. The shark battle. One day, a huge shark circled his raft. Instead of panicking, Poon Lim decided to fight back. He used his fishing line to hook the shark and pulled it closer. The shark thrashed violently, nearly flipping the raft. But Poon Lim waited for the right moment, then struck its head repeatedly with a knife and a water jug. After a brutal struggle, he killed it. He carved it open, drank its blood, and dried the meat. That moment symbolized more than just food. It was his declaration to the sea, "I will not die." The mental battle. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Isolation began to take its toll. He talked to himself, sang songs, and counted the stars to stay sane. He carved notches on the raft's wood to mark each passing day. The ocean was unpredictable. Storms would overturn the raft, waves would crash into him, and the scorching sun burned his skin. Yet every time he fell, he got back up. He developed a deep relationship with the sea, respecting its danger, but refusing to fear it. Encounters with ships and planes. After 2 months, a cargo ship appeared on the horizon. Heart pounding, Poon Lim waved his arms, flashed his mirror, and shouted for help. The ship came closer, but then, horrifyingly, it sailed away. He didn't know that wartime paranoia made many ships afraid of survivors, fearing they might be enemy traps. Later, a seaplane flew overhead. He lit his flare, but again, no one came. The feeling of hope followed by despair almost broke him. Yet, he did not give up. The 133rd day, rescue at last. It was now April 1943, 133 days since the torpedo attack. Poon Lim was weak, thin, and sunburned. Then, one morning, he saw a faint line of green on the horizon, land. He had drifted all the way to Brazil, more than 1,500 miles from where his ship had sunk. As he approached the shore, a group of Brazilian fishermen spotted him and pulled him to safety. When he stepped onto land, he could barely walk. He had lost nearly half his weight, but he was alive. He had survived the impossible. The aftermath and legacy. The local authorities were astonished. The British consulate verified his story and sent him back to England. When he arrived, he was hailed as a hero of endurance. The British Navy studied his survival techniques and used them to design new emergency rafts and survival kits for sailors. Even the U.S. Navy took note, incorporating some of his methods into their survival training manuals. Poon Lim himself received a British Empire Medal for bravery, a rare honor for a Chinese civilian during wartime. When reporters asked him how he managed to survive, he simply said, "I hope no one has to go through what I did, but if they do, they should fight to live, as I did." The human spirit. Poon Lim's story isn't just about survival at sea. It's about the power of human will, ingenuity, and hope. In a time when death surrounded him, he chose to live. He fought hunger, thirst, storms, and loneliness, and won. Even today, his record of surviving 133 days alone on a raft remains unmatched. His tale continues to inspire survival experts, sailors, and ordinary people alike. In the end, Poon Lim proved something extraordinary, that courage and hope can defeat even the vast and merciless ocean. His survival wasn't luck. It was determination, resilience, and the refusal to give up. Whenever life feels impossible, remember this man, floating alone on a raft, facing death every day, yet choosing to live. Because survival begins with the decision not to die. Thank you for watching. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Learn and Earn with Farhan for more incredible true stories of human courage and survival. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and never give up hope.